Welcome back to RPG Elite, where we put the RP back into RPG, giving you the tools and tips that'll help you have a more immersive and enjoyable RPG experience. Servant of Shiloh here once again, and we are continuing our series on the Skirmish tutorial. Now, you may notice that my voice sounds a little bit different, and the reason why is that I have a home studio. And I was trying to experiment on my first couple of videos to see how my USB microphone would sound, because I have about 4 microphones. One's broke at the moment, but I have 4 microphones in my home studio. And doing these videos, since I said before, this is a hobby for me, but I wanted to see how that would work, because that's the microphone that I use for things like dictation, and I also use it for communicating online when we do online games and things like that. But I wanted to see how it sounded like just plugged straight in. And lo and behold, it didn't sound like I wanted it to sound. So I had to switch it over to a microphone that is on my setup with my preamp and compressor and all the rest of that stuff. So now we have better sounding audio, and that just makes for a better video for you guys. And so what we're going to do today as we continue on our series here is we're going to focus on appearance and the appearance of characters inside of Skirmish. Now, there are, and we're going to do it by, I'm going to set up an NPC, an actual NPC that's going to be in my campaign that I'm running with the One Ring. All right, so let me go over here. Let me get my mouse in here. And we're going to make this NPC. And what I'm going to do is just going to minimize all the rest of these different aspects. And we're just going to focus on the appearance here. And like I said, once you get done with this tutorial series, you will be a boss at Skirmish. I'm telling you, you're even going to know all of the esoteric things that most people probably won't get into much. All right, so let's move with the first portion here, which is portrait. Now, portrait is this little box that's up here. So once you highlight your character over in the left-hand pane, the box that pops up is the portrait. And what you want to do is you want to highlight portrait. So this little box over here in the corner shows up with the 3 dots. And what you want to do is you want to open that, just click on it, and this will pop up. And so now what we want to do is we want to change that image. And I have already gone ahead and loaded up a couple of the images that we want. So I'm going to go ahead, and for those of you who are in my campaign who might be watching this, you know who this is. What's up? Okay, we're going to open this, and there he is. And so this is a NPC character that I have in my campaign called Rophielin. So now what we want to do is we don't want this whole thing in that small box. We really just want a headshot. I usually like to do a headshot, part chest shot kind of thing. So what we want to do is we want to crop this image. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do a freehand like this, and just do, each side from the edge of the image. Or you can go ahead and use square ratio and just kind of go in and out, and the ratio is going to stay as it should. And there you have this. There you go. And in this, you have to make sure that you're coming from the edge of the image, because the way that it looks like you could be coming from the edge of the red lines, and that's not true. You need to come from the edge of the image in order to get this, really compressed down to where you want it. And I'll let you, I'm almost there in terms of where I want it. Let's put this on a little bit more and put this up a little bit more, and I think I'm just about there, so we're going to do that. And there we go. So once you go ahead and crop that image, it will automatically show up here. And that is kind of like the portrait face image of your character. And that is how you do it. So if you have an image somewhere on your computer, and you can look up a million of them online, just Google it. And And you can have that image for your character in terms of a headshot. Now, move on to the full portrait. You have the same thing. You go ahead and you highlight it. You wait for this little box with the 3 dots, and you click on it, and you click change. And let's say that this is the image that you want. You can open up that image. And for me, when I use a full portrait, I just use the whole image. So I just push save. Now, in order to see the full portrait, what you need to do is go to your portrait and click on this small little magnifying glass, and it will open up to your full portrait. Now, let's say I just want something a little bit different when it comes to my full portrait. So I can go ahead and I can change that. And I'm going to do one when I had him just jumping up in the air because he's just cool like that, doing his thing in the middle of the Blue Mountains Hall. Or was this Blue Mountains or was this in Moria? I forgot. Okay, so we're going to click save. Now when we click on our show full portrait, what we have is we're feeling in action, doing a little jumping. Who says little people don't have hops, right? All right, so that's how you do your portrait. Now the way that they have this, everything in here in terms of order, it really should be changed around because it should be in order of importance. So really the next thing that's important when it comes to your character is your token. So go ahead and highlight token, and right now we don't have any. So what we want to do is we want to click on this, and then the token collection editor box will pop up. And what we want to do is we want to go and we want to grab a token. Now we want to name that token, and I'm just going to name it Rophielin because that is his name of the character. I'm going to click add, and then if you want to go and change it and go to your computer, just click on change in auto crop, and we're going to click on this dwarf cleric right here. Pretty similar to what he looks like. Now I did pretty good as far as getting a top-down token that looks like him. So we did that, and if you want to move him inside of this box, and just take this little crosshairs and just move him around. You can take him, move him over. You can take him, move him like this. I would probably move him just about like that. And then he's actually face south right now. So we want to turn him around 180 degrees so he can face north. So this will be his northerly direction. If we wanted to scale him and make him bigger, we can go ba-bam. Or we can make him really small, ba-bam, where we can't see him. Or we can just go right back to 100% or thereabouts, and 99% would probably be better in terms of the scaling here. So I'll just keep him like that. His opacity. So if you wanted to make a token that looked ghost-like, then you can just do it like this and make him like dim like that. Or you can just put it to 100% capacity. Here is where you can change the color tone of the token. So if you wanted to give it kind of like the token a red hue to it, or you want to make them blue, or you want to make them green, or something like that. Of course, we're just going to go back and make it white so we can just see everything. He's got enough detail on him anyway. And so now that we have this, all we really want to do is click save. And there he is, Rophielin. Press OK. And now we have a token. So now when we double click anywhere on the board or on the map, that's who shows up. Now, this is not what we want. We want our token, right? So how do we get it to be our token? Right now it has our portrait, but what we want is our token. All right, so let's take that and remove that off of there, and let's see how we do that. What we want to do is we want to next go to a live token and what that looks like, because it will default to the portrait. So go ahead and click on a live token and then click on the down arrow. And then you'll notice here it is. It's going to look up all of the tokens that you have attached to that character, and you will be able to choose which token is your token for an alive token. And of course, for Rophielin, we're going to put the one that we just created. And for a dying token, you might have something different. Like I say, if you can find a dead dwarf someplace with a shield, then you can go ahead and have a different dying token. So a live token and dying token basically do the same thing, but what I'm going to do is, since I've saved that, now what will happen is that once I double click to place Rofelin's token on the board, there he is. So that is the token, and we'll just scroll in a little bit closer so you can see him. So that is what his token looks like on the board. Now you can do things like token scaling, and token scaling is making the token bigger. So if you are putting it at a 1, it's at the original size that you had it. If you put it at a 2 and just click anywhere, it's going to, as you can see, double in size. Now, for RPGs, you're just going to keep it on 1. I mean, you're not going to do anything else. Now, one of the other things that this has is show base. And the base is this solid line right here and this arrow. And so if you want to show that all of the time, then even when you kind of like are turning your character, it will always show. But let's say you don't want to show that all the time. So you go ahead and click here and say you only want to show if he is alive, or you never want to show it. And so once you click out of him being highlighted, it doesn't show. If you click always and click on it, it does show. So it really is a preference thing. Now, the one thing that I do notice is that the token scaling, the base does not go with the token scaling. For example, if I go back to Rofelin, and I put a 3 in here, which means he would be absolutely huge. And that would be for things like, trolls or giants, and you want to represent that on the playing surface. Well, if you actually did want his base to show, as you can see, it does not scale with the token. It should scale with the token. Now, whether or not this scales before you make the character, when on that one part, when you can change the size of your token by going to like 300% or something like that, that's different. It probably will scale there, but here it will not scale. So the base does not scale to the token, and so you're probably going to keep it on 1 all of the time until they change or fix that. So there it is, folks. That is the basics of appearance and how to make your token and how to make your character appear how you want them to appear. Another one that they have too, and I'm just going to mention this real quick because I don't really think it's all that important, but you have random dying tokens. So if you had, again, you can attach more than 1 token to a character. And if you had one that was a dying token and you had another one that was a dying token, then you can go ahead and it would randomly go through those tokens. It's kind of silly, really, but if you're doing battle type stuff, like using the tabletop for battle things, then I can see how something like that would come into play. And this does do that as well. This virtual tabletop does do that as well. So that's how we get into our characters and make their appearance look exactly how we want it to look. And it comes to portrait and the full portrait and the tokens themselves and how to get those set up. Really easy. You can set those up in less than a minute. So next time we're going to be looking at 3 more aspects of the character, getting them set up and what it does to these characters. And that's going to be attributes, blood, and general. And then the next series after that, we're going to do lighting, position, and vision. So until next time, people, happy gaming and God bless.